That beautiful feeling when you know there's no international break until next year. We made it. What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is finally time for week 9 of the Premier League predictions. There's going to be so much football over the next month or so with the Premier League, the Champions League, the Europa League. I'm buzzing. If you're excited as well, please do drop a like on the video because the last Premier League video smashed over 400 likes, which is just absolutely insane. I want to give a shout out to the legend Beckham Dominic himself because he was one of the only people that actually predicted Aston Villa to beat Arsenal. Obviously, as an Arsenal fan, I predicted Arsenal to win as well, but I rightfully made my tip over 2.5 goals, literally to allow for a 3-0 win either way, because it's just typical Arsenal to do something like that. So if you guys want to get your comment featured in the next episode of the Premier League predictions, then drop it down below, and if you predict a particular upset, or if you just have a really good week, then I will look to feature you in the next episode. And speaking of good week, real quick, my Nations League predictions, I got 11 out of 12 correct predictions for part 2, and the only one that let me down was England. So England and Arsenal, it's tough being a fan. But real quick, because of all the support you've been showing on these videos, this video is kindly sponsored once again by the guys over at OneFootball. If you don't know what OneFootball is, it is a free app on iOS and Android that has everything you could want when it comes to football news, transfer news, updates. If there's an injury you're particularly concerned about, which if you're a Liverpool fan, you probably are, then you can like your favourite teams, your favourite leagues, and get updates from OneFootball about all of the news across the world. It is the best place and your one-stop shop for everything football related. Truly, it is a really good app. It looks really well laid out and I'm loving it so far. I'm always clued in and I really do think it's helped me with my predictions as well. So massive shout out to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. If you do download the app using the link in the description, it does also support me on this channel and helps keep these videos going. So once again, thank you to OneFootball for sponsoring the video and thank you to you lot for showing them some love as well. Now, before we get into the week 9 predictions, let's take a little look back at my week 8 predictions and see some of my better call-outs. It wasn't the worst week, but it wasn't the best week. We had Chelsea winning over 1.5 goals, which was correct. The Man City-Liverpool game, I predicted 2-1 to City, and had it not been for an out-of-the-ordinary Kevin De Bruyne penalty miss, I would have been pretty much spot on, and I was quite happy with the over 2.5 goal tip in the Arsenal-Aston Villa game because I specifically didn't make the tip both teams to score because I knew either team was capable of winning 3-0, and I definitely didn't make the tip Arsenal win because I knew they could go and Arsenal it up and lose. So I was happy that the tip came in despite a complete wrong prediction, which is the aim of my tips, to try and maybe get the tip right even if the prediction goes wrong. So let's kick it off into week 9 with Newcastle up against Chelsea. Now Chelsea, they are absolutely smashing it this season. Newcastle, they've been kind of Newcastle-ish. Like, they haven't really been amazing. They haven't been awful. But I do think Chelsea are going to win this one fairly comfortably. I'm going to go for a 3-1 away win to Chelsea. But my tip is going to be, once again, Chelsea win and over 1.5 goals. I was very, very tempted to do Chelsea win and over 2.5 goals, which sounds pretty good, but I could also see Chelsea winning this one 2-0. So I'm using my tip to encompass a 2-0 result, even though I think it'll be quite a bit higher scoring. You know, if Chelsea win 2-1 and it's quite close, it's over 2.5 goals, and you'd have some cracking value there. I think it's like 2.2. So if you're feeling a bit brave, Chelsea winning over 2.5 goals is a shout. But for me, to keep it a little bit safer, but something that I definitely think is going to happen, I'll go Chelsea win and over 1.5 goals. Next up, it is Aston Villa up against Brighton. Now, Aston Villa coming off of a fantastic win against Arsenal, and Brighton once again failing to get the win, and the buck stops here with Brighton. I'm sorry, every single week I sing your praises. I say, you know what, the football they're playing is great. If they just do that, they should be able to get a win eventually, and it's not coming, and I'm finally gonna back Aston Villa to get the win. And I've had comments from Aston Villa fans saying I never predict Villa to win, even though I have correctly predicted Villa wins this season already, but we're going to back Aston Villa in this fixture. I'm finally cutting my ties with Brighton, and just my luck, they'll probably go and win now, Brighton. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 home win to Aston Villa because not only have Brighton, although they've been looking good, they've been failing to get results, but Aston Villa have actually looked fairly decent as well. I think their transfer business has been amazing. And I do just want to clarify once again, my prediction of Aston Villa being lower down in the table, that was way before all this transfer stuff happened. I wasn't even sure if Jack Grealish was going to be staying when I made that prediction, but I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Aston Villa, and my tip is simply Aston Villa to win at 2.15. Brighton probably going to win this one now. But next up, it is Tottenham up against Manchester City in what I anticipate to be a high-scoring and exciting game. Now, Tottenham and Man City games lately haven't been massively high-scoring, like very, very recently. And I think both teams are just going to go at it, and there are going to be a lot of goals. I do think Manchester City are just going to get the win, but I'm not going to put that as my tip. I think it's going to be very, very close. I'm going to go for a 3-2 away win to Manchester City, but with Tottenham's attacking front, like they can't not score, right? And Man City, they do have some defensive frailties at the back at the moment, but equally, I think Man City, they're not going to draw a blank in this game either, and I think Man City will be kicking themselves that they didn't beat Liverpool, and I think Liverpool would, to be fair, be happy with a draw, away from home at the Etihad. Pretty decent result for Liverpool, not so much for City considering the penalty miss as well. So I'm going to go for a 3-2 into Man City, but my tip is going to be both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 1.9. Some pretty good value there in my personal opinion. Now next up it is Manchester United up against West Brom. I see no universe where Man United don't win this one comfortably. I did look at the tip of Manchester United to score 3 or more goals at 2.2. I thought, that's pretty decent, but what if they do just have a weird little 1-0 win? You know what I mean? So I'm going to say a high-scoring win for Manchester United. I don't think I've ever predicted United to win so convincingly, but I'm going to go for a 4-0 home win. But my tip is going to be Manchester United to be winning at halftime and full-time at 1.9, because I've noticed in the statistics that when Man United do get the win, they don't win every game, but when they do win, they're usually leading at halftime as well. And I think that sets them up for a good second half. And West Brom, frequently, obviously, when they lose, they're also losing at halftime. Occasionally, they'll be losing at halftime and pull it back to a draw. But I do think Man United are just way better than West Brom, and they should win this one convincingly. So I'm going to go for a 4-0 win to Manchester United. Next up, it is Fulham up against Everton. Now, this is an interesting one because Fulham, obviously, recently, they did get their first win in the Premier League at Craven Cottage, which they'll be buzzing about. And Everton have lost 3 games on the bounce. It hasn't been great from them. Obviously, they have had some issues with injuries and suspensions and everything like that. But I think this is going to be a weirdly close game. Everton have had a really great start to the season, but as I said, they've tailed off a little bit. And Fulham, I've always said they're capable of scoring. So I do think Fulham are going to score. I am, however, going to give the edge to Everton. I haven't quite updated myself on the injury news and everything because obviously the international break is quite a long break. So I don't know the state of Everton's squad, but overall, they should have enough to beat Fulham. I mean, if you just look at the two managers, Ancelotti is definitely a cut above. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Everton, but my tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.66. Maybe Fulham get a Mitrovic penalty and Everton with Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison to score a goal. It's pretty basic, but I'm going to go with both teams to score. Now, the next fixture is Sheffield United up against West Ham. Now, I really struggled with this one, to be honest. I think Sheffield United, they haven't had a great start to the season by any means. They're really, really struggling, barely scoring any goals. West Ham, they've had a really good season, I think. They've got some good results against the likes of Tottenham, Manchester City, and they played well against Liverpool, even if they didn't get any points. And obviously, I do think them missing Antonio did hurt them in that Liverpool fixture. And if I'm not mistaken, Antonio should still be out with an injury in this one. So I think Sheffield United are going to play well enough to get something from this game. I think they're going to be defensively sound like when they played against Manchester City. I think they're not going to take West Ham for mugs. I don't think they're going to think this is going to be an easy game. So I'm going to go for a low-scoring 1-1 draw. But obviously, if I had to pick a winner, I would go with West Ham because they've had a much better season. So although I'm going for a 1-1 draw, I'm going to play it safe with my tip and say West Ham double chance at 1.4, which isn't a bad ACCA booster if you just want something that seems fairly safe. I don't see Sheffield United winning, but then again, West Ham, you do really never know. So next up after that, it is Leeds up against Arsenal. This is a very, very difficult one to predict. Arsenal having some of the best defence in the league, conceding the fewest goals. Their games have been quite low scoring as far as Arsenal are concerned. I think that's also due to the fact that Arsenal's attack going forward hasn't been clicking, it hasn't been firing. Lacazette, I saw on the internet someone call him Alexander Lack-a-Threat, and I thought that was quite funny. But Leeds, they're very up and down with their results as well. They got absolutely pumped by Crystal Palace. We don't need to talk about Bamford's offside. We all pretty much think the same thing as far as that goes. But I do think this is going to be not hugely low scoring because, I just don't see that happening, but low scoring enough for my tip. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 away win to Arsenal, but I think it could be even lower scoring than that. So my tip is going to be Arsenal double chance and under 4.5 goals at 1.53. So this could end 3-1 to Arsenal, and this tip for under would still come in. It could end 1-1. It could end 1-0 to Arsenal like it did in the Carabao Cup this year. I think Arsenal double chance under 4.5 goals. Unless Arsenal really do gunner it up once again, I think that tip should come in. Now, next up, it is Liverpool up against Leicester. I'm not sure the state of the Liverpool squad, but it's not looking good. Over international break, Robertson taken off for an injury. Mo Salah tested positive for the Rona. So I have no idea what sort of lineup Liverpool are going to put forward. And I could be brave. I went with a Liverpool win initially because Liverpool, in true championship-style fashion, they always manage to get the win, similar to how they got the win against West Ham. Liverpool will still have Mane, who I think is excellent. They'll still have Jota, who is really, really good. I have no idea what their back line's going to look at. You know, I think Leicester are going to take advantage of that. I'm going to change my prediction. I originally had Liverpool to win 3-2. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. I think Leicester are in really, really good form. Like, really, really good form. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, but obviously with the injuries and everything and all these uncertainties, I'm not going to back the result in my tip. My tip is going to be both teams to score and over 2.5 goals at 1.83. Now, the next game, perhaps not the most inspiring of fixtures, it is Burnley up against Crystal Palace. Burnley, I think they've scored 1 goal in their last 6 games or something, and that was against Newcastle in a 3-1 defeat, so the goal was pretty much as good as irrelevant. And Crystal Palace coming off of a really good win against a decent Leeds side. So I do think Crystal Palace are just going to be able to get the win here, and it's been known in recent seasons that Palace have a weirdly better away form than home form, so and they have beaten Burnley a couple times at Turf Moor. You know, I was going to go for a 2-0 win to Palace here, but I'm going to go for a 1-0 win to Crystal Palace. Either way, I think it's going to be fairly low scoring. It could end 1-1, but my tip is going to be Crystal Palace double chance and under 3.5 goals. So this could end 2-1 to Palace, 1-1, 2-0 to Palace, 1-0, 0-0. I think this is a pretty good tip at 1.75. So I'm going to give Palace the win, but my tip is double chance and under 3.5 goals. Now, the final fixture, it is Wolves up against Southampton. Now, Wolves they're a pretty good team at home. Southampton don't have the best record going to Wolves, having not been able to get a win in their last 4 trips to Molineux. So I have taken that into account a little bit, but Southampton are looking very, very good. I was very tempted to give Southampton a 2-1 win, but the way I looked at this fixture is I don't see Southampton drawing a blank. They're in fantastic goal-scoring form, but I also don't see Wolves drawing a blank at Molineux to Southampton. Not saying that Southampton are bad, but, you know, Southampton got a clean sheet against Newcastle last week. I think it's about time they concede a goal. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. I think if I had to pick a winner, certainly on form, I'd go for Southampton. They're just really flowing well and scoring goals with ease. But my tip is going to be both teams to score at a very good value of 1.95. Now, this could easily be 1-0 to either team, and that's why the value is so good. But I think the way I see it, as I said, I don't see Wolves drawing a blank, and I definitely don't see Southampton drawing a blank. And that leads me to both teams to score with some pretty good value. So that is going to do it for my Week 9 predictions. If you did enjoy this video, then please do drop a like on it. And as always, leave your predictions down in the comments below for a chance to be featured in next week's episode. And once again, massive shout out to OneFootball for sponsoring this video. If you want to keep up to date with your favourite teams or the fixtures as they go ahead, because there's a lot of fixtures coming up, then just download OneFootball using the link in the description. But that is going to do it from me, and I will see you in the next video very soon.